I was in Coach H. I was literally just listening to Audible on my phone. And then I had guys suddenly run past going, run, run. There's a guy stabbing literally everyone, everything. There was a few of us kind of looking at each other like thinking, was it a joke, like it's Halloween, I'll be pranking. But then you could kind of see in their faces they were being serious. I kind of got my stuff and I was running and everyone was really pushing behind us, really panicking. And at this point I was kind of asking questions like, what's happening, like who is it? And they were like, a guy's just stabbing everyone back there. Put my hand on this chair, like just trying to push myself forward. And then I look at my hand and it's covered in blood. And then I look at the chair and there's blood all over the chair. And I'm thinking, okay, this is pretty serious. So some of the guys that had ran through to kind of alert us to run, they were the ones who had also been stabbed. So we're running over and getting to the edge of the carriage, still trying to work out who is it, what's their intentions, what's their motives. I just knew they were stabbing everyone. And someone kind of said they thought they had a gun. Pulled the emergency alarm and trying to work out, can we barricade the doors, can we lock the doors, but we couldn't really. And then by the time I got to the end of the carriage I realised I was actually at the back of it and there was about 6 of us. There was a girl, bless her, who was really, really in a bit of a state because the guy actually tried to stab her and one of the older guys, who's an absolute hero, blocked it with his head and he's got this like gash, he had this gash on his head, he's got I think a gash on his neck and he's we're kind of giving him like our jackets to keep the pressure on the blood. And while we're doing that, there's a person that I know, and he's kind of looked at me and gone like, "Have you got anything we can use in case he comes through?"
There's at least 10 ambulances, 12 ambulances.
We had a Jack Daniels bottle between us, and that was it. So we're kind of sitting there with one Jack Daniels bottle, just looking down the end of this carriage, just praying somebody doesn't walk down with a knife, with a gun. We didn't really know what was going on.
The rewritten title emphasizes the idea of a first-hand, detailed account, which immediately signals credibility and urgency. By highlighting that a witness is retelling the event in detail, the framing shifts from rumor or media narrative to lived experience, a powerful tool in storytelling about violence, fear, and public safety. It also taps into audience psychology. People are naturally drawn to inside-the-scene perspectives, especially during chaotic or traumatic events. This framing not only builds suspense, but also positions the witness as a narrator of truth, suggesting that what they saw may differ from official statements or news reports. The choice to remove the name and replace it with a witness broadens relatability and makes the story feel less like an interview with a stranger and more like a warning from someone who could have been any of us.
We do know that Sir Keir Starmer has called this a crisis, a knife crisis, and former chair of the Haringey Independent Stop and Search Monitoring Group also should mention that. But here we are again then, Ken, with this appalling story this morning.
Yes, my condolence goes out to those who are affected by it, and it must have been a horrific scene on that train, and having backed up to the last carriage, having nowhere else to go and facing 1 or 2 maniacs, however it is, would have been horrifying for the passengers and anyone in that vicinity.
Oh, absolutely it would. It begs the question, what can be done about this problem of knife crime, Ken? Because it's an everyday object. This is the problem. It is a lethal everyday object.
That's right. Even though we just recently heard about 60,000 knives has been seized or taken off the street, it doesn't put a dent into the mindset of the person behind who's holding the knife. And this is a case in point. Whereas you cannot totally eradicate it, but what we can do is start working on people's emotional mindset. That people don't pay much attention to their emotional well-being. And in this case, when we're getting a lot of social media, horrific scenes on social media that plays on people's mind, this could be a case in point with people's acting random violence. And it seems like there's at least a couple of people involved in this incident. Thankfully, it seems like the police have arrested them. My only thing about the police is that we really want to know, is it safe for us to go on the train? Should we be aware? Should we be looking out for anything? Is this where it is? Is this a random thing? Or is it deeper than that? Is there more people out there that we should be aware of?
Yes, there was even a suggestion, wasn't there, at one stage that if knives were made without sharp ends, you could still cut everything, for example, use it in the kitchen. The thing is that there will always be a way of getting around almost everything. If you want to get one of these knives, then you can. The internet is there, and it seems to be extraordinarily easy to get knives.
Yes, it's called a World Wide Web. That means you can get it from any part of the world. And if you've got money, unscrupulous seller will always get you the product you want. And if you're determined, you will do so. But as I said beforehand, we have to really look at seeing what we can do to build in people's self-esteem, particularly if we can get to young people, building their self-esteem, letting them know that they're going to have challenges in life. But what they don't want it to do is to revert to this sort of violence. It's unacceptable on any level.
And in the immediate term, I mean, you're looking at societal change there, Ken, which is admirable, but long term. What do we need to do in the immediate term when we look at what has happened overnight? I mean, do we need to have more random stop and searches? Do we need to have, electronic arches at railway stations and increased sort of security that way? Are there more immediate steps?
Personally, a determined person will always do its best to get through to whatever hideous things they want to do. So having more stop and search is only gonna, and if it's not done in a professional way, will only alienate the very community you're trying to get through. So what we don't want to do is have people believe that they are victims, because when they've got a victim mentality, this is where the downward spiral occur. But if there is a way, as I said, if there was a way of having that positive interaction with the police to improve the confidence in the police, then I feel that would work. But as it stands in the moment, the police has still got a lot of work to do around engagement with particularly marginalised community or disenfranchised community. So personally, I don't think stop and search is the way forward. I believe more education. I believe for youngsters under the age of 18 who gets caught with a knife, that there is a short, sharp shock treatment for those first-time offenders to try to scare them straight away from walking or carrying a knife.